this lineup for the New York Yankees, brought to you by State Farm. Alfonso Soriano leads off at second. Derek Jeter batting second. Giambi at first base, hitting third. That means no Nick Johnson at the start. In the middle, Williams, Matsui, Posada, Garcia, Boone batting eighth, and Mike Mussina is pitching and batting ninth. And here is the right-hander, Josh Beckett, who has had blister trouble on that right hand in years past. He had a sprain of his pitching elbow this season. But forget about all that. He is throwing as well as anybody this postseason so far.
And that's why he has only 17 decisions, because he was out 2 months with that sprained elbow. Poised and intimidating. Anybody who saw the knockdown of Sammy Sosa of the Chicago Cubs knows how intimidating he can be. And improving fastball and changeup since coming off that DL and causing the hitters to sway. That means with the fastball and the changeup, swing is not a good thing to do when you're a hitter. You're supposed to wait, get a good pitch to hit, and have quick hands. When you're swaying forward on that change and he can make you do it, that's not good.
Tim, I think we should tell him. We should tell him that if any player hits a home run into this group of fans, all of America will receive a free taco from Taco Bell and a free Pepsi on Monday, November 24th from 3 to 6 p.m. local time.
All right.
Now, we are told that group will sit together all night. I don't know if any of them know one another, and hopefully they won't scatter throughout the ballpark as this game wears on. Just so you know, I mean, you see them up close. Where are they sitting if you look from this vantage point? They are over 400 feet away, but it's back in a spot close to the line where it's a realistic possibility. Here's Alfonso Soriano. Soriano still in that leadoff spot, homered in Game 2. He struck out 20 times this postseason. He'll try to get it going for the Yankees against Beckett. The 23-year-old from Spring, Texas, grew up idolizing tomorrow night's starter Roger Clemens, who went to high school about 25 miles away from Spring. Soriano had no chance even if he wanted to swing at that pitch with the flash bulbs popping around Pro Player Stadium. First pitch is strike, and now the next from Beckett. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tough when you're a hitter and you see about 560 baseballs coming at you.
1 ball, 1 strike. That's fouled back and out of play. Somebody got a picture of Alfonso with his eyes closed. There's no doubt. It's impossible not to. Soriano is looking for his 14th hit of this postseason.
Four fastballs to get Soriano. The last one thrown 97 miles an hour. A little tailing fastball over the outside part of the plate. And Soriano has now struck out 21 times in the postseason.
Joe Torre has been saying that he's been reaching for the ball too much. That one started outside and came back in on him. And with 1 out, nobody on, here's Derek Jeter. 2 hits in this series. You see the numbers this postseason for Jeter on that bottom line. He's 15 for 52. Off the hands, out of play, strike 1. Well, Josh Beckett is as big a reason why the Florida Marlins are in the World Series as anybody down there on that field wearing a Marlins uniform. With the job he did in the LCS, obviously in Game 7 coming out of the bullpen, 3 days after pitching a complete game shutout in Game 5. It's 0-2.
First curveball that Beckett has thrown paralyzes Jeter. Dynamic stuff. Seven pitches, 6 strikes.
And 2 97-mile-an-hour fastballs, one to get Soriano and one to get Jeter. He has extra gears with that fastball, that's obvious. He gets 2 strikes on a hitter, and he can reach back and get a couple more miles per hour. Here's Giambi, who has had a tough time catching up to that high fastball. That is foul. Just foul as Giambi made a bid for a 2-out extra base hit.
That's the first low fastball that Beckett has thrown, and Giambi can get around on the ball about waist high, mid-thigh high, much better than the ball around the letters. So he went up there looking fastball, got it, hit it hard, but foul.
'97 misses off the inside corner, a ball and a strike. Bernie Williams is the cleanup man on deck. About the old 87-mile-an-hour change.
Giambi turning around, asking home plate umpire Gary Darling if it was a strike. He said yes. First changeup of the night for Beckett.
On the infield, Josh Beckett hasn't been intimidated up to this point. He isn't intimidated tonight. Mike Mussina with an ERA just over 4 in this postseason, but 0-3 with his record. Great work out of the bullpen in Game 7 against Boston on Thursday night. The starting lineup for the Marlins brought to you by State Farm. Pierre, Castillo, Rodriguez at the top. Cabrera, Lee, and Lowell in the middle, with Conine, Gonzalez, and Beckett bringing up the rear. And you and I both agree, and Joe Torre thirded it, that the job Mussina did coming out of that bullpen saved the Yankees' chances on Thursday night. First up is Pierre. Everybody in, ball 1.
Mussina with that wide-eyed aggressiveness on Thursday night, coming in with Boston runners on first and third, nobody out, and they did not score. Key inning in that ball game.
Went 3 innings, did not give up a hit. That's a strike on the outside corner. The count evens at a ball and a strike. Mussina had been told before that game to be ready, but the Joe Torre would not bring him in with runners on. He said we'd start a fresh inning with Mussina. Plans change. Pierre fouls it out of play. It's 1-2. With 2 strikes, they back up a little. But even with 2 strikes, the Yankees not sure that Pierre won't drop one down. 29 bunt singles, number 1 in the National League this season.
We compared Juan Pierre with the bunting skills of Rod Carew. What a brilliant bunter he was. And in 1969, Rod Carew had 12 2-strike bunt base hits.
The 2-2 pitch. Pierre leans back and flies it into right center field. Garcia, Williams can't get to it. Pierre into second. And he's there with nobody out. It is a huge outfield here in Florida. And the change in venue already has an effect. It's a double for Pierre.
Kareem Garcia got a bad jump. His first step was back, but when a ball has that much hand time, you have got to make the play. Bernie Williams was playing in left center field. As you can see right there, he's got to go this way. Kareem Garcia took 1 step back, and by the time he got there, it was Williams' play. That could be a huge mistake for the Yankees.
So it's a leadoff double. Now the Yankee infield comes in on the corners for Luis Castillo.
Tough play for Aaron Boone, the third baseman, because you got such speed on second.
Pierre made a break for third and able to dive back in as Posada threw behind him. A little bluff when Mussina brought the pitch to the plate. Castillo with Ivan Rodriguez on deck. The bunt is foul. And the count 0-2.
When Marlin bunters think about where to bunt the ball tonight, Jason Giambi is going to be one of the targets. Normally with the runner on at second base, you try to bunt it to third, but Giambi does not have a good throwing arm. Johnson, a much better fielder. Kevin and Jeannie talked about it in the pregame show. He may still be bunting, even with 2 strikes.
Slapping it the other way and foul.
Mike Messina, never a fastball only count. He'll throw any pitch on any count. That newly found wide-eyed aggressiveness coming in out of the bullpen against the Red Sox, and an excellent fielder, but he'll have to be with Giambi at first base.
Not only does Giambi not have a good throwing arm, but he doesn't have healthy legs.
No.
He's got a bad left knee. It's been killing him this postseason. It's affected his swing at the plate. Joe Torre's been able to DH him until tonight. Still 0-2 on Castillo. And a big strikeout for Messina, 1 out. A double followed by the strikeout, and Pudge Rodriguez will walk to the plate.
Knuckle curveball gets Castillo. He misses that ball by about 4 inches. Now things open up for Pierre to steal third base. The left-hander up there, you're not going to do it because you want him to push you along. But with the right-hander up and 1 out, it's a good time to do it.
And then you've got a guy like Rodriguez, who in this postseason has been peppering the right side of the field. Soriano, the second baseman, will try to keep Pierre close, opening up a big hole on the right side for Ivan Rodriguez. He goes to right, but in the air. That's Garcia, and that's 2 out. Pierre tags and draws a throw. He was there with nobody out. Pierre's at second with 2 out, and Cabrera coming up. Don Shula in the background as Cabrera walks in. All-time winningest NFL head coach. Checking out the action here tonight at Pro Player Stadium.
One of the many numbers retired here in this ballpark, but none have been baseball players.
The number they retire, his career win total. The inning falls into the lap of the 20-year-old Miguel Cabrera, who so far in this World Series is 0 for 7. The outfield, when we get a chance to talk about it, should be a big part of the discussion for the next few nights. As Cabrera waits for the first from Messina. Nice save by Posada. The Yankees and the outfielders, I would imagine, couldn't wait. And they played here in interleague play, although they didn't do it this year. But these guys, a guy like Matsui in left, Kareem Garcia in right. Bernie Williams is at least somewhat familiar with patrolling that big center field here at Pro Player Stadium, but they have a lot of ground to cover. This ballpark gave up the fewest home runs of any across baseball this season. Cabrera takes ball 2.
Much easier to play in left field, but as you go around toward right field, things become very, very difficult. It's 404 feet to slightly right center right there, 434 there. So that's the space that Joe was talking about.
Add to that a slick surface. This grass is slick. Cabrera takes ball 3 with Derek Lee waiting on deck. That's what the Yankees noticed during their workout yesterday, along with a lot of bumps on the infield because the Dolphins play here. It is a tightly cut grass field, and the ball really skips and scoots on that outfield grass. 3-0 on Cabrera. Cabrera swinging on 3-0. You bet. Matsui was in game 2. He homered to straightaway center field, and Cabrera cut it loose. It's 3-1. Cabrera fights it off to the right side, and the Florida Marlins take the lead in game 3.
You can see Soriano with 2 outs holding Pierre close at second base. Not the way he was doing with 1 out, but not in a position where he's able to knock this ball down. Cabrera, an outstanding hitter with 2 strikes, changes his whole approach. Like all good hitters, he protects the outside. That ball was inside. He inside-outed it, and the first run of the game by the Marlins.
And for the 20-year-old, his first hit of this World Series. So Pierre, with that speed, not only changes the defense when he's at the plate, but the speed even changes the defense when he's out on the bases with 2 out. No balls, 1 strike. Lee off the plate for Giambi. A flip, and we're going to the second. A fast start for the Marlins here in game 3. A double by Pierre. A 2-out RBI single for Miguel Cabrera. We're through 1 inning here in South Florida. And the Marlins are on top, 1-0. Second, a 1-0 Florida lead. Bernie Williams first up, then Hideki Matsui and Jorge Posada against the right-hander Josh Beckett. The Yankees went in order in the first inning. Beckett picked up 2 strikeouts, and he deals high to Bernie Williams, who has hit 18 postseason home runs in his career with the Yankees. So far in this World Series, 3 out of 6. Down and in, 2-0. Bernie Williams, who has really put up huge numbers in his LCS history, has struggled historically with his World Series at bats. The 2-0 pitch, 2-1. Only 18 out of 101 is Bernie Williams. As he looked back at the home plate umpire, Gary Darling is working his first ever World Series. He put up the right fist. It's 2 balls and a strike. Hands back here, 2-2.
That term first ever can be applied to the Marlins. Juan Pierre with that double. It was the first extra base hit the Marlins have had over the first 2+ games.
On 2-2. Williams hits it into deep right center field. That's got a chance. Back at the track. It's caught for the first out. That can be Death Valley out there, and Bernie Williams just found that out. 1 away here in the second. Tonight's Sprint Virtual Manager question is, who is the hardest throwing pitcher of the last decade? Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, Billy Wagner. To answer the question, use your PCS Vision phone from Sprint, or log on to foxsports.com, keyword MLB on Fox. So as I grab my phone, we say hi to what is, I guess, amounting to our celebrity line, Simon Cowell, a tremendous judge of talent. Simon, your selection between the 4 that I mentioned, Clay Aiken is not a possibility.
Clay Aiken definitely wouldn't be amongst that bunch, I can assure you.
Who do you like, Ryan, Clemens, Johnson, Wagner?
Well, the answer is Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan from Simon Cowell as a pitch is checked to Beckett. Out at first is Hideki Matsui. 2 away. Simon, thank you for joining us, and good luck whenever American Idol rolls back into our televisions in the near future.
Back in January, beware.
All right. Simon Cowell. It's almost intimidating, kind of nerve-wracking to have a guy like Simon Cowell on the phone while we're doing the game. I find myself measuring my words, wondering if maybe I need to lose weight. But we got through it, and we're all anxiously awaiting Simon's next album whenever that comes out. With 2 out and nobody on, Jorge Posada will step in. Good work, Tim. Thanks for bailing on me, partner.
Bailing on you? What?
Down and in for a ball.
We had a guest. Good talk with our guest there.
Left me out there hanging all by myself. And now I'd like to sing for you all by myself. 1 ball, no strikes on Jorge Posada. To the right side for lead. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Beckett. Next up is the former Yankee, if only for a handful of at-bats, Mike Lowell. Only 5 out of 31 in this postseason, but a home run to win Game 1 of the NLCS at Wrigley Field. Off balance, popped up, shallow right. Soriano puts it away, 1 down. Doug Davis is the bench coach for Jack McKeon, and he had this to say after the opposite field base hit by Cabrera with 2 out last inning.
Don't worry about that runner. It's a big hole over there.
And there it was right there with 2 outs. Soriano paying attention to Pierre at second base. It's funny how the game works. Pierre on a misplayed ball in right center field.
Conine goes the opposite way and hits it foul down the right field line.
And you have to figure that if Pierre doesn't get that double, then Soriano's in the right position when Cabrera hits the ball to the right side. So technically, the Marlins should be 6 up, 6 down.
Juan Pierre floated the ball. It fell in front of Bernie Williams. And with 1 out, nobody on here in the second, Conine takes the ball. Conine is hit in 11 of the 13 postseason games that the Marlins have played so far. And the decision that Jack McKeon has to make without the DH is to put Conine in left, Cabrera in right. That's a foul ball. So just foul down the right side, now just foul down the left side. And Conine, who's playing left with Encarnacion on the bench, just missed a double.
I think that ball landed about 2 inches next to the bag.
Tim Welke is the third base umpire. Now the 1-2 pitch. Hammered but foul again. Conine, who has spent years in the American League, very familiar with the stuff of Mike Mussina.
He was a teammate of Mussina's, and a guy with more experience against all the Yankee pitchers in tonight's game and in this series.
Out there spoiling pitches, still 1-2. We mentioned the home runs that were hit here. Only 121 total home runs hit at this park this season. That's the fewest across Major League Baseball. The power alleys are huge, and center field is a maze out there with the different angles that a center fielder has to play when a ball goes out in that direction. Only 1.5 per game hit at this stadium this season. And that's one of the trickier angles at the park for a center fielder and one for a hitter, where you have to hit it over 430 feet to get it out. Conine just got a piece. You think about the Marlins and the way they've played here at home. They have only 5 losses here since mid-August. And under Jack McKeon, the Marlins have hit 60 points higher than the opposition while playing here at Pro Players Stadium. What a good at-bat by Conine. Conine believes that that this is a more exciting time for the Marlins and their fans compared to '97 when he was part of a world championship, because that was a team filled with big money players that were supposed to come here and win a World Series. This year's version for the Marlins seemingly came out of nowhere. 09 hits it off the end of the bat on one hop to Jeter. 2 out.
This year's Marlin payroll, about $53 million compared to the Yankees, $164 million. And there's the highest paid Marlin.
$10 million for the season, but only $3 million paid up front, $7 million in deferred money. And he would like to stay here beyond this year, signing a late free agent contract. I was looking down there wondering what the stir was about. That can only be Mike Tyson, as Gonzalez hits it into the left field corner. Alex Gonzalez will dig for 2 as Matsui gets it back in. It's a 2-out double.
Something neither team is confronted with when they play in an American League park in New York, because your 9-hitter is a potent hitter. But by clearing the pitcher, Alex Gonzalez, it may seem like a meaningless double, but the Marlins get Beckett, at the very worst, get Beckett out of the way so Pierre can lead off the 3rd inning.
2 hits in this postseason for Beckett. 7 hits during the regular season. 2 out and Gonzalez at second. Strike 1. Jeffrey Loria, the owner of these Marlins, and the Hall of Famer Tony Perez on your left. Chairman and CEO of the Marlins after taking over the Montreal Expos and switching franchises, ending up here in Miami. Gonzalez at second as Beckett takes ball 1. One ball, 1 strike with 2 out. That's on the corner, 1 and 2. You know it's a compliment when a manager like Jack McKeon, who is a baseball lifer, as they call him, just loves being at a ballpark, calls the 23-year-old Josh Beckett an old schooler. The kind of demeanor he has, obviously the pitching stuff, but not intimidated as that misses down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Josh Beckett saying in the paper today that he was actually a little more nervous about getting World Series tickets to everybody and picking everybody up properly at the airport than pitching tonight.
The 2-2 pitch. Beckett takes strike 3. Second strikeout for Mussina, and he gets around the 2-out double by Alex Gonzalez. We go to the 3rd inning of game number 3. It's still 1-0 Florida. Marlins back to the field. The Yankees will bat in the 3rd inning. It'll be Garcia, Aaron Boone, and Mike Mussina. Kareem Garcia first up. He's 2 for 2 in this World Series. The numbers in the postseason very good. 6 out of 18, 3 RBIs. He gets the nod tonight in right field. He's kind of platooning now with Juan Rivera, the right-handed hitting outfielder. Depending on who's on the mound. Tonight it's Beckett. A 9-game winner during the regular season. Nasty pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1.
That was a breaking ball, and Josh Beckett starting Garcia out with a pitch that he has not used on the first pitch yet.
That's low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Aaron Boone next. All 4 starters that Jack McKeon has used have at one point come out of the bullpen to give the Marlins some big innings. Garcia hits one in the air to right center field, and that'll hang up for Cabrera. One away, Boone coming up. Major League Baseball Ultimate World Series Pass. Game 3 winning number is what you see displayed here. If your hologram number matches the one shown here, you are eligible to claim a $25,000 prize shopping spree on MLB.com. With one out, here's the number 8 hitter, Aaron Boone. And a breaking ball has Boone frozen. Strike one.
Aaron Boone has faced Josh Beckett. He faced him when he was with the Cincinnati Reds. He homered against him last year in a game between the Reds and the Marlins.
Another breaking ball, that's low, a ball and a strike. It is a relatively short porch in left field compared to the rest of the park here at Pro Player Stadium, but the problem is unless you hit it right down the line, you have to get it up. That's out of play. If it's right down the line, you've got an 8-foot wall. If it's away from the line, you've got to get it over that entire scoreboard, which at the highest point at the top of that clock in left center field is 27 feet high. Line drive the opposite way, and it hangs up for Cabrera. 2 out. Before tonight's game, Jamie Moyer of the Seattle Mariners was given the 2003 Roberto Clemente Award presented by John Hancock Financial Services. The Roberto Clemente Award is given annually to the Major League player who best exemplifies the game of baseball through sportsmanship, community involvement, and outstanding on-field performance. There's Jamie and his wife, and Jamie, a guy who gets by on guile and is smarts, a change-up artist, and a guy who year after year puts up win after win. Pitching for the Seattle Mariners, as that is inside. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Messina, who throws right, bats left.
Jamie Moyer saving his best year for age 40.
With 2 out, Messina gets a pretty good rip, but he's in the hole 1 and 2. Messina, a career .216 hitter, and he is not without a chance at the plate.
You can see that front foot opening up. That's an unusual way to approach anybody.
3rd strikeout for Beckett. That front foot opened up, the pitch was up and away, and Messina could not get there. Down in order go the Yankees for the 3rd straight inning. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 1-0 Marlins. 1-0 Florida. Series tied at a game apiece. Florida won Game 1, 3-2 at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees came back in Game 2 behind Andy Pettitte and won 6-1. Pierre takes a pitch in the dirt, ball 1. Juan Pierre doubled, quote-unquote, into shallow right center field his first time up. Bernie Williams started in the same spot when the ball headed there back in the 1st inning. He is over in left center field expecting Pierre to slap it the other way. I tell you, a guy like Pierre, with the way the ball skips, he drove one into right center field that got down and got all the way out to that wall in center field. He'd have a shot at circling the bases. Messina with a count 2-0. Might have been a good pitch, but no chance to get a strike as Posada missed it.
Yeah, that pitch could very well have been a strike, but the ball gets by Posada. And when a catcher drops a ball, he does not stand a chance of getting that pitch called a strike.
Here taking on 3-0, he may take on 3-1. Castillo will follow, and then Pudge Rodriguez.
He may bunt here too.
3-2. Both sides come into this series with the idea of making the opposing pitcher work. Pierre's doing now, taking on 3-1, now slapping at it. A guy who was the hardest to strike out during the regular season in baseball.
We talked about it the other night. He swung at 1,115 pitches this year and swung through only 67, about 8%.
Still 3-2.
We'll do that all day.
Mike Mussina, one of the best controlled pitchers in baseball, has had difficulty in the postseason coming into this start of getting first pitch strikes. Fell behind 3-0, and Pierre goes the other way to Jeter. 1 out. Well, the base is empty, and Castillo coming up. You can play Hit the Pros, presented by Chevy Silverado, and face real pitches from today's best hurlers. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword games, Chevy Silverado, it's the right truck. With 1 out, here's Castillo, who struck out back in the first. Castillo, a free agent to be, taking on a guy in Mike Mussina, who in his first year was signing a huge contract, a 6-year deal with the Yankees. Had a terrible start here right after the All-Star break. It's 0-2, and that start may have cost Mussina the ERA title that season. He finished second to Freddie Garcia of Seattle. And that start, he went 2 innings and allowed 8 runs. Take that away, and Mussina quiets a lot of critics after signing that big deal, winning an ERA title. Now Mussina has critics because he hasn't won a postseason game since Game 4 of the ALCS in 2001 against Seattle. He's 0-4 in his last 6 starts.
It's worth repeating our opening. He has not thrown a pitch when the Yankees have been ahead in this postseason.
Castillo strikes out for the second time tonight. And that's number 3 on the evening for Mussina.
That's a split finger fastball that really goes down. He has added that pitch this year. A toppling effect gets Castillo.
That'll bring in Ivan Rodriguez. Favorite movie, Scarface. And going hand in hand with that, favorite recording artist, Yanni. That can't be true. Yanni? Yanni!
Hey, it is. Not that.
Coincidence? I think not. Favorite recording artist, Yanni. And who's there in the front row watching this Pudge Rodriguez at bat? Yanni.
We thought this was the Acropolis.
Boom, another error. We talked about the infield and how it's bumpy, the Dolphins playing here, but that is error number 5 this postseason for Aaron Boone.
Boone made 2 errors on Sunday night, one costing Andy Pettitte a shutout, but waiting back on this ball. That ball clearly should have been handled, but one of those errors on Sunday night costing Andy Pettitte the shutout.
So 2 in Game 2 and 1 here in Game 3, and that extends the inning for Miguel Cabrera, who has the only RBI tonight. Strike 1. Aaron Boone is regarded by many as one of the elite defensive third baseman in baseball. He made 6 errors after getting picked up by the Yankees at the trading deadline from Cincinnati. And now he's made 5 errors in this postseason over there at third base. And he's missed 2 starts with Enrique Wilson starting over there. Cabrera takes the ball. It's 1-1.
I don't think there's any question about it. Joe Torre has even talked about it. about how Aaron Boone is thinking about it now. And when you think about it, your reflexes are not as natural as they are normally.
Cabrera's first hit of this World Series produced the first run of Game 3. Back in the first inning, and now he takes low, 2-1. Two balls, 2 strikes. Outfield and infield dead straight away for Miguel Cabrera. He's hit 3 home runs in this postseason, driven in 10. Full count, and the runner at first, Rodriguez, will go.
That's why Mussina came in on Cabrera. Guys who are prone to hit the ball the other way with 2 strikes, a good pitch with 2 strikes is the inside fastball. It makes it tougher to push the other way. But Cabrera changes his approach with 2 strikes and tries to go to right field.
We'll do it again.
He didn't do it then, and that's why he whacked himself on the helmet with the end of the bat.
Jack McKeon saying Cabrera is as fine a young player as he has ever been around. He has had a long list of good young players. 3-2 pitch on the outside corner, struck him out. And Mike Mussina gets around the error. Aaron Boone commits the error at third. Cabrera strikes out. 4 on the night for Mussina. We go to the 4th. 1-0 Marlins. Here's World Series, and they're with us again tonight, providing these beautiful overhead views. Saturn and its retailers hope you're enjoying the 2003 World Series. Down below, we go to the 4th inning, and Josh Beckett back to work. As Soriano off balance with that swing, strike 1. A riding fastball by Beckett struck out Soriano back in the first, came back in on him. Has not seen a fastball in this at bat. The count 1-1.
Rodriguez, who was mildly accused of putting fingers down when he was with the Texas Rangers without thinking about it, thinking a little bit more about his throwing and his offense. And I say mildly because that is putting it correctly. But he's really improved in that department. An example is the first 2 times for Soriano tonight. 4 fastballs to strike him out the first time, and the second time up, 3 breaking balls in a row. Now Soriano, you can go any way you want to. You can throw the changeup or the fastball. He'll probably try that fastball he struck him out with the first time, a tailing fastball away. Nope.
A breaking ball, the curveball for strikeout number 4 on the night, and number 22 this postseason for Alfonso Soriano.
So he got him the first time, 4 fastballs, and this time with 4 curveballs to get Soriano.
A major league record for Alfonso Soriano with the 22 strikeouts this postseason. And again, like we talk about with the achievements and things that you're proud of, you get extra chances to hit home runs, extra chances to drive in runs. That's certainly the case. Extra opportunities to strike out with the extra levels of the playoffs, the division series and the LCS. However, fans and members of the media have been calling for Joe Torre to get Soriano out of that leadoff spot that may happen here soon with Soriano unable to make contact. Jeter does, and he hits it down into the left field corner. With one out, Jeter will dig into second with a stand-up double. The first hit of the night for the Yankees, and it's a double for Jeter here in the fourth.
Beckett missed with the breaking ball to Alfonso Soriano, his first pitch, and now he misses to Derek Jeter. That was a hanging breaking ball. You can see Rodriguez setting up outside. The ball backs up inside, and Jeter takes advantage of a hanger.
Now it's Giambi, who hasn't driven in a run in this World Series and only 5 in the postseason. Strike one.
I think it's very difficult for Joe Torre to even think about moving Soriano out of that one hole here in Florida. Because if he does, you can move Jeter up to the one hole, then you don't have a second place hitter with Nick Johnson out of the lineup. So he may do it if Soriano continues to struggle, but I think he'll wait until he gets back to New York to even consider it.
Beckett drives Giambi off the plate to count 1 ball, 1 strike.
He will do that. As anyone who saw that Chicago Cub game in his start in Game 5 knows.
And as anyone would who grew up idolizing Roger Clemens.
Right.
Tomorrow night starter. The 1-1 pitch is high. Now Giambi is playing, finding out that he has been subpoenaed to testify before a federal grand jury in San Francisco regarding a nutritional supplement firm called Balco. They're being accused of being the source of a designer steroid, and Giambi is on the list, a list that includes Barry Bonds. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
39 athletes have been subpoenaed, 11 pro football players, and at least 4 baseball players.
So having to answer questions with the word steroid involved yesterday during the workout. Just finding that out. He's 0 for 1 tonight and at the plate with a 2-2 count. Three and 2 with Bernie Williams on deck.
Ball of the foot all the way over toward the first base side of the pitching rubber.
A little high, and it's a walk. It's 2 on with 1 out.
That was a very, very close curveball. Catchers are reminded to hold the ball as long as they can to try to entice the strike. That's what Rodriguez does right there. But it did look a little high. Home plate umpire Gary Darling.
Wayne Rosenthal, the pitching coach, disappointed that the Marlins don't get that call, and now Bernie Williams, who hit a ball into right center field that in just about any other ballpark would have left for a home run. That happened leading off the second. Runners on at first and second with 1 out. And this is popped up shallow left. Gonzalez was looking back for Conine. The infield fly rule is in effect. 2 out. When the infield fly rule is in effect, the batter is out, and the runners can advance at their own risk. That's with runners on at first and second, or first, second, and third.
Even though the shortstop drifts out to shallow left field, it's got to be a chance, a sure chance by the infield. If that ball didn't, for instance, have a lot of hang time, the infield fly rule would not have been in effect.
And now here's the guy who's really been the rock in the lineup for the New York Yankees this postseason. He leads his team in RBIs. He bats with 2 on, 2 out. Hideki Matsui. And since the beginning, when he first got to the Yankees, he has impressed his teammates. He's impressed Joe Torre with the way he approaches at bats, with the way he runs the bases, the way, despite limited range and speed, he plays left field. With 2 on, 2 out, Matsui takes inside. Joe Torre will tell you he doesn't believe Matsui will ever be a big power threat here. He hit 50 home runs last year in Japan, playing for the Tokyo Giants. But he's a guy who would have a difficult time, according to Joe Torre, hitting the ball out the opposite way with regularity. But he knows how to hit. He takes a strike, and it's 1 and 2. Matsui, and that will load the bases. So the bases are loaded for Jorge Posada, and the Yankees are a hit away from taking the lead.
Sometimes the curveball has too much bite to it. You can see the tightly wrapped curveball hitting Matsui first on the right foot. It may have crawled up his leg and hit him on the right shoulder too. But it just has to hit you once. So that curveball getting away from Beckett, and Matsui saying he's all right.
Now Posada with the bases loaded. Jorge grounded out to first back in the second. 1-0 Marlins. Ball 1. Jeter doubled in the inning. A walk to Giambi. And Matsui hit by a pitch. Beckett in his first tight spot of the night. Pretty good rip by Posada at a 97-mile-an-hour pitch. It's 1-1.
You can see the two-seam fastball. That's the one that tails away from the left-handed batter. Following the fastball with the changeup. And that's what we were talking about earlier, how it can make hitters sway.
Another good swing by Posada. But only got a piece of the 97-mile-an-hour pitch. Posada during the regular season hit 30 home runs and knocked home 101. The switch hitter looking for his first RBI of this World Series. Two and two. Teams haven't had many opportunities against Beckett in October. Here's one for the Yankees. Down by 1 in the 4th. Beckett unable to get that fastball past the bat of Posada.
I was thinking the same thing. Almost all fastballs have been in on the hands, and almost every foul ball is in the same spot. Just to the left when he fouls it back. It's going to be a fastball. Normally, if the catcher shakes his head no, fastball's coming.
Just tying away, and it's a 3-2 count.
That was a key pitch right there, because now the runners will be off with the count 3-2.
Posada takes ball 4, and it's a tie game in the 4th. And that bench for the Marlins all over Gary Darling, the home plate umpire. Beckett came close on the pitch to Giambi. Came close twice with Posada. Doesn't get this call.
Well, it's on the plate. If he called it a ball, which he did, it's got to be called low. And Jack McKeon saying, well, you're not giving us the high pitch or the low pitch. The 2-2 pitch was called high. The 3-2 pitch was called low. That's the 2-2 pitch he's talking about.
So Rosenthal out to calm down Beckett, and I'm sure Josh Beckett feels he made a good pitch on 3-2. Didn't get the call, and the Yankees have tied it here in the 4th inning.
Here's the sequence as Beckett misses with the fastball. It's 1-1 now. There's a strike with the count 1-2. He fouls it back. Curveball misses, fouls it back. Now here's the pitch. The high fastball and the low fastball. McKeon probably saying somewhere in between there's a strike, but he lost the argument.
Garcia late, strike 1. Bases loaded, 2 out, a 1-1 score in the 4th. A little difference in the bat speed between Posada and Garcia, even at the end of a long season for Jorge Posada. Able to get a piece of those fastballs from Beckett. Garcia couldn't catch up. Off the plate, strike 2.
That was a feisty at bat by Jorge Posada.
The rally started with a double by Jeter. Breaking ball misses for ball 1. Wayne Rosenthal may have jogged out to tell Beckett to forget about that 3-2 pitch to Posada, but looking at Jack McKeon, he hasn't forgotten about it.
No.
Garcia could put New York on top here in the 4th inning. That's to first. Fair ball. Derek Lee. Inning over, but not before the Yankees get on the board. A double, 2 walks, a hit batsman in the inning. And Gary Darling, the home plate umpire, with his mask and hat off, looking in at that Florida dugout. They've been on him. The Yankees get on the board. It's 1-1. Derek Lee first up, leading off the bottom of the 4th inning, and a ball outside from Mussina. Now that the Yankees have tied it on a bases-loaded walk to Posada, it'll be Lee, Lowell, and Conine. Anybody gets on Alex Gonzalez, who's doubled tonight. In for a strike, 1-1. Lee is first time up. Bounce to the right side to Giambi. That's the third. Boom to his left. 1 out. Josh Beckett, after getting out of the top of the 4th inning, is still hot. Maybe not about the 2-2 pitch, but I'm sure that 3-2 pitch. And Rosenthal, his pitching coach, went down to try to calm him down.
Yeah, that's the one I thought, we both thought, he had the best argument on.
Lowell hits it foul. Let's go to Chris Myers, who's with us. Chris?
Yeah, maybe a little rain will cool off Josh Beckett after he got out of that last inning. The rain started to fall here in South Florida. Now, about an hour before the game's opening pitch, they had a shower move through, and that was the forecast, a brief thunder shower, and it was supposed to clear with the typical scattered showers in the area for South Florida. Right now, the rain is picking up speed and has in the last few minutes, so we have the umbrella just in case. Joe?
You have the umbrella, the fans do not. They do not allow umbrellas in the stadium. You can buy a parka here. You can bring a coat with a hood, but you can't have an umbrella. 0-2 on Lowell. Make sure you put it on the right way. With the rain falling, an 0-2 pitch to Lowell. Got him on the outside corner. Strikeout number 5 for Mussina. Here's tonight's MasterCard trivia question. Which are the only 2 quote-unquote expansion teams to win the World Series twice? We will not be checking in with Mike Tyson for his answer on tonight's trivia question. Conine swings and misses, strike 1.
Or Simon, for that matter.
Mom and Dad had a great time at the World Series. Really, how are your seats? Great. Who'd you sit next to? Mike Tyson. That's low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. With 2 out, nobody on, Conine, he grounded out to short his first time up. Waits for a 1-1 pitch. Both starters are on tonight. A flare double for Pierre in the first and a 2-out RBI hit by Cabrera. Going the opposite way made it 1-0 Marlins. Pudge Eyeblack.
Yeah.
Into right field, Garcia. A 1-2-3 inning for Mussina. We go to the 5th. It's a 1-1 game. Game 3 with a series tied 1-1. Back after this inning, and he pops a first pitch into shallow left. Gonzalez fights the raindrops and hauls in out number 1.
All right, Joe, the rain has picked up here in the last few moments, so because the fans can't use the umbrella, I'm going to tough it out, and we're going to sit out in the rain here for as long as they play. By the way, can I borrow your outfit?
No, I'm working.
All right, yeah, well, so am I. All right, Joe, we'll keep an eye on things down here. Back up to you and Tim.
Chris, thanks. The man of the people. Whatever works.
Rather innovative way of keeping the rain off of you.
First pitch is outside for a ball. Between the end of the 4th and the top of this 5th, the umpires got together. Mussina pops it up, third base side and out of play. The crew chief is Randy Marsh. He's out in left field tonight, and he went in and talked to the grounds crew. They're always dialed in with the weather, trying to get the weather report. And just to be ready, the grounds crew took the covering off the tarp. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Mussina.
There are those that think when it rains, the only trouble areas are the pitching mound and the batter's box. That's not true. Ground balls to infielders can be problems.
Breaking ball gets Mussina. Strikeout number 5 for Beckett. Our game summary is brought to you by John Hancock. Miguel Cabrera put Florida on top with a 2-out RBI single in the first. Beckett retired the first 10 batters in order with 4 strikeouts, but he walked 2, hit a batter after a 1-out Jeter double in the 4th inning. One of the walks was a Posada bases loaded walk to make it 1-1. Here's Soriano. The rain has driven Mike Tyson from his seat, but still stopping for photo ops. Well, if Aaron Boone is thinking about his defense, As much as Soriano smiles, and he is constantly smiling around this Yankee clubhouse and around his teammates, he's got to be thinking about the strikeouts. 22 strikeouts this postseason, a record. And he's set up for number 23.
This is not a good pitch, and Beckett gets away with it. A curveball up and over the middle of the plate.
To go with the 22 strikeouts, only 2 walks. And a total of 13 hits. 59 at-bats. Those who stay in their seats get behind Beckett, who brings home a 1-2. 2-2. The Marlins in their half of this fifth will have the bottom 2. Gonzalez, Beckett, and then Pierre. Sticking the bat out. Beckett, the easy play. And the Yankees go in order in the fifth. Halfway through game number 3 of the series, tied 1-1 this game. Tied 1-1. Andy Alderson talking to the crew chief. That's Randy Marsh, closest to us. Between innings, as pitch number 1 is outside from Messina to Alex Gonzalez, who doubled his first time up. A strike. Let's go back down to Chris Myers.
Yeah, Joe, I spoke with Sandy Alderson, Vice President of Operations, in the break. It's the umpire's decision whether to pull guys off the field. Right now, they think the field can take this rain. They think this rain is moving through. They're going to get an updated forecast in just a moment. But at this point, the plan is to play on unless the forecast is not good or the rain continues to come down home.
Gonzalez sticks the bat out, gets a piece, and it's 1-2.
I think that's what both managers want because they've got their starters locked in tonight. Josh Beckett and Mike Messina.
The last thing Joe Torre would want is to go to long relievers.
Right.
And if you're Jack McKeon, you want Beckett on the mound as Gonzalez swings through it. That's strikeout number 6 for Messina.
Messina dropping down, and that ball rolling around and staying in the pocket of Jorge Posada.
Well, the base is empty. Here's Beckett. Struck out his first time. Mike Messina is a guy who struck out 15 in 7 innings pitched in Game 3 of the '97 ALCS, while with Baltimore at Cleveland. He can pile up the strikeouts, and he has 6 so far. Beckett set up for number 7. Now the rain really coming down. 0-2 pitch. Beckett strikes out. Posada will complete the play. 2 out.
There's really nobody on either side who would benefit from these types of conditions any more than Juan Pierre. He can bunt the ball. The track is still firm enough to steal a base. If he hits it on the ground, it's going to be tough to field by an infielder. If he hits it on the ground in the outfield, it's going to be tough to field by an outfielder. And to solve those problems, the umpires are calling for the tuck.
So typically these showers move through quickly. This one has settled in. And obviously, as Chris Myers said, they're waiting for an updated weather report. These things can come in and leave quickly. But this one is hanging around here in Game 3 of this 2003 World Series. To the recap, and it's worth, I think, going back and talking about what we said during our on-camera. The Florida Marlins, going into any game in this World Series, have to feel best when they have Josh Beckett on the mound. And for Mike Messina, He has a record of 0-3 this postseason coming into this start tonight. He was brilliant out of the bullpen in Game 7. Coming on in the 4th inning, getting the Yankees out of trouble, keeping them in the game. At that point, already trailing 4-0 to Pedro Martinez. But 0-3 in his 3 starts, and really not pitching poorly, not getting a lot of run support. Matched up with Beckett tonight, and it's more of the same. It's 1-1, bottom of the 5th, and the first pitch to Pierre is in for a strike. 2 out, nobody on. Pierre has doubled and scored and grounded out. Sticks the bat out and gets a base hit into left field. Just over the outstretched glove of Derek Jeter, 1 on, 2 out.
That ball may have been outside. Jeter jumping, timed it properly. Just over his outstretched reach. Remember, Derek Jeter with a separated shoulder on opening day. That ball was 3 inches outside.
Well, here's a running situation for the Marlins. But remember, that track has got to be average at best with that topping on it. And there's Pierre. Stumbled a bit at the start. The throw down in time, and the inning is over. A slow start on the break from Juan Pierre going on the first pitch, and he is out stealing